All right, I don't know where I left off with this yesterday, but so I had to change that line because I forgot we were putting a line lock in here. So brakes are all set up, got the right correct fittings for that. Line lock is hooked up there. You got the one line going down to here. That splits, goes to the two front. So you got in, out, and then the wires. These are stainless bolts, so they're nice, clean. Everything's nice and put in there. Wires are going through the firewall there. Everything will get wired on the inside. The one line, brake line for the back is going in the car. Goes down along the side here, under the panel, up and over. And we made a hole in the floor where the line comes in from the rear. Put a clip on it, so that's up and out of the way. It's in the car. If you get a dry shaft frickin' brake or a U-joint or something, it ain't gonna hit that. So everything's inside the car. The only place that's outside the car is in the back, and that's behind the line of the U-joint and the shaft. Okay? And then obviously these are exposed, but you can't do nothing about those. All right? And that's it for the brakes. So I need to go in the car now, hook up these little clips, and adjust the rod. And then that'll be done. Bleed all the brakes. We got the wheels back off everything. We gotta open up all the bleeders. Everything's got dual bleeders. So these have dual bleeders front and back. They're strange brakes. We're gonna let them gravity bleed first. So the way I usually do this is gravity feed, let it all gravity feed as long as you can. Okay. And then after that, then we go in there and pressurize it a little bit and they come right up. Okay. All right, so back over here, we're trying to see where this radiator is gonna go. We got 5 million things going on over here at one time. So we got the line locks all hooked up. All the brake lines are done. The fronts are bled. The back are still dripping away there. Got the carburetor starting to mount all this stuff so we can see where everything goes. I'm doing the gauges, getting them all done. I'm gonna start wiring everything once this thing is bled out. As you can see, got a mess everywhere. Josh is in the back installing the gas tank. And that's going to be the next thing we're going to be doing is running the tank, running all the fuel lines, running a fuel pump, and all that good stuff. All right. I had to get some bushings for the brake pedal. So the bushings will be here tomorrow morning. So if you look at these bushings, these got like these little nylon bushings that take up all the slack. The other ones were kind of tore up. They ain't putting them back in there. So we're going to put all good ones on there. Steering's all done. Everything clears. Got all that done. We're getting there. Moving right along. The alternator is over at, the alternator bracket's over at Joe's. Drop that off. I had to go back to the metal place and get the round stock to make the bushings for it. So I dropped all the material off at the machine shop, and he's gonna make those brackets and the bushings and everything else up. And once we get that mounted, then we can figure out what size the belt's gotta be. All right, I'm gonna go back to putting all this together so we can start installing some stuff here. All right, so let's see, we got a nice, all the clips on there. Pedal has no play, side to side, no more or anything. It's nice and clean. That's all done. We got a brake pedal. I got the rod adjusted. Doing the, let's see, that hole right there is gonna line up with the throttle on the inside. So we had to modify this a little bit, clean that up so that this, fix that. So this would go in there. Got a pin that goes through that, and then the cable. I'm gonna put it all together and show you what it looks like. All right? Okay. And that goes in there like that, and it'll pivot all around, no problem. And now this cable, this goes in the firewall, so I gotta make the hole that size. This gets bolted into the cable, into the firewall. Cable goes through there, and then you can modify this as long as you want or as short as you want or whatever, but probably just make it a little bit shorter than what it is right now. Okay. We'll put the pedal back in the car. Can you see it though?
Yeah. Little air bubbles coming out. You can see the one.
Wait,
there.
let me get my phone up, put a light on it.
Oh, there it goes. Now it's coming out.
Yeah, I know.
You could see the bubbles when it was coming out.
You see it now better? All right. Start over. So, when you're bleeding these brakes, I just did that one. So watch what happens, right? They've been sitting, right? And then crack it open.
And that's your air
See the little
pockets.
bubbles? Now it comes out clean. Just make sure it keeps coming out clean. See the bubbles? That's why most guys, what they do is, they see fluid coming out and then they stop. And then they got a spongy pedal. You saw that, right? It came out clean and then it got air. So now we just shut that one.
Shut that one. Open that one back up.
Go back to that one. Make sure it's clean. You gotta let it run for a little bit.
You go through a lot of brake fluid, but you know.
Okay, so now I did all four of the front like that. Now we go do the back, same thing. And then the pedal gets better. Then you pump the pedal a couple of times.
Make sure you bleed
Go
them
back
all
around,
out.
do it. Let it sit for a while. Go back around, do it again. And then you pressure bleed it with somebody pumping the pedal just to make sure. But by then, you don't even need nothing. It's done. Right? The cable's done. Show them the cable. I got that mounted in the firewall. I was just showing you that, and then I ended up. You go back and forth with the brakes. So that's mounted in there. If you go inside, you can see. This is all. You can hear the brake pedal. I mean the gas pedal in there going in and out, up and down.
Yep.
That's a stop. Can't go no further than that.
Yeah.
So once we do, I'm waiting for some linkage for the basic plate of the carburetor. Then we'll adjust that, mount the carburetor. We tightened up the carburetor, all the bolts that were loose, changed the fittings on it.
Okay.
So the brake pedal's done, the gas pedal's done. I'm going to finish wiring the back of the panel. Then we're going to run all that. We're running the AN hose. So this fitting, you could do this next, Josh. That fitting for the oil pressure is going to come off. And that one's going to go on.
Okay.
And then we got to make a hole somewhere in here to run all our wires and cables and everything through. And then we're going to put one of them rubber seals on it.
Okay.
So we're making up the window net so we could finish the inside. Forgot to do the window net.
No, we didn't forget.
Well, not forget, but it just hasn't come up yet. So we're doing that. And then we got to weld some brackets, make a support for the radiator too. So those would be the other two things we're doing today. Hopefully we get those things done today. All right, gas tank's in. Nice and solid. That's ready to go. The tank, the net that he's welding up. Oh, we gotta weld. It's a whole weld up kit. You gotta weld everything together. I'm gonna put a spot on there. Another thing gets welded in there.
Not horrible if I may.
Start welding the stud for the swing. And then the buckle, the other end of the buckle comes over here. Once he finishes welding that, let that cool down for a minute and then we'll show you how we do it. Alright, so he's, like I said, this thing comes in pieces, so we gotta weld that all together. And then we got it at the right angle and everything. We got the stud mounted in there, and then once he's done welding that, we'll let that cool down for a bit. Then we'll mount it up in the car and then put an anchor on the bottom for the cable. Alright. And I'm gonna start making a setup to hang this radiator over here, and we'll get that welded today, hopefully. So that's ready to go. Now I could start making that piece fit in the car. While in the meantime, we made these brackets to hold the radiator up. The radiator will be like that. There's space underneath. He's gonna weld that all up.
We're good like that though?
Yeah, right where it is. Okay.
Okay.
So he's gonna tack this stuff up. You know, get out of his way, and I'll start making the other piece in the car while he's doing this. Yeah, put the ground on it. Alright guys, we're gonna catch up with you in about 15-20 minutes or whatever after we get this tacked in place. Oh yeah, we're getting it now. This side all tacked up. I got this piece ready to go in here. We're gonna have that ready today too. And we'll take all this apart and repaint everything nice and clean. Make it look good. Keep moving right along. Once this stuff is welded in here, once this bracket, we gotta weld a little bracket up on top of here to clear the buckle. Once that's cleared, then we're done. We can start putting the interior. I'm gonna start putting the dash together. All right. Got them on there. Got that one on there. Just like that. And the radiator will slide right in there. Bolt right to it. So he's in there welding the other tab for the front top buckle of the window nut. And then we'll make the bottom part. Get the bottom part getting welded up. And we'll show you how it works. We still got to make one more tab in the front to hold the front down with a little cable.
Okay.
So this is going to go in here. Right. That goes up there. That goes in there. This pin holds that in from getting lost. And where's the bolt? And the bolt goes through here. Just like so. That thing's hot still.
Alright, leave it then. I just finished welding it. And that's how that goes in.
That goes like that. That's it. Flip it up. That gets the bolt to hold it from coming down. Where's the little nut?
Get the nut.
Oh,
I
man.
probably found that.
That goes like that. Now we'll go down. Now we'll go up.
Okay.
And one more nut right.
We're done with that. Now I gotta clean it all up so I can paint all the little spots.
Alright, so now we're priming all that stuff, all the brackets, everything that we just welded on. And we'll give it a nice little quick paint, black. And that'll be done. Here's another can on the shelf.
Hang on, shut that off.
Not music. Right behind you. On this side of the top. Right. Yeah.
I'll let it dry.